In our last unit, we learned about parallel keys and relative keys. Parallel keys share the same tonic, like C major and C minor, while relative keys share the same notes, or better said, the same key signature, like C major and A minor. Understanding relative keys gives us a quick way to learn our minor key signatures. But before we learn that way to know minor key signatures, we're going to take the slow and methodical approach to make sure we understand how minor scales are constructed and how minor key signatures work. Now remember this from our study of major key signatures. Key signatures are the collection of all the sharps or flats needed to satisfy the interval formula for a specific scale. And we need to know them two ways. One, if you see a key signature, what minor key does it represent? And two, if you know the minor key of a song, what key signature will represent it? To start our study of natural minor key signatures, we'll start by reviewing how to construct a scale from an interval formula. And you'll remember this. So to construct a natural minor scale, you can follow the same steps we use for building major scales, but using the natural minor scale formula instead. And let's review that. Whole, half, whole, whole, half, whole, whole. We'll start by building an A minor scale, and here are the steps. 1, write the desired tonic on the staff, in this case A. 2, write in all the notes by step on the scale above the tonic and include the octave. 3, number the scale degrees, including 8. 4, write the minor scale interval formula between the numbers. That's whole, half, whole, whole, half, whole, whole. And 5, next adjust the notes to fit the interval formula using sharps or flats where necessary. And always remember the naturally occurring half steps between B and C and E and F during this step. So let's do this now. Between 1 and 2, we need a whole step. And what do we have from A to B? A whole step. Between 2 and 3, we need a half step. And what do we have between B and C? A half step, because that's a naturally occurring half step. Between flat 3 and 4, we need a whole step. And what do we have from C to D? A whole step. And what do we need from 4 to 5? We need a whole step. And what do we have between D and E? A whole step. Between 5 and flat 6, we need a half step. And what do we have from E to F? A half step, because that's a naturally occurring half step. And what do we need from flat 6 to flat 7? We need a whole step. And what do we have from F to G? That's a whole step. And between flat 7 and 8, the octave, we need a whole step. And what do we have from G to A? A whole step. You can see that the key of A minor, like C major, requires no sharps or flats to satisfy the interval formula. Next, let's do the B minor scale. So, write the desired tonic on the staff, in this case B. 2, write in all the notes by step on the scale above the tonic and include the octave. 3, number the scale degrees, including 8. 4, write the natural minor scale interval formula between the numbers. That's whole, half, whole, whole, half, whole, whole. 5, next we're going to adjust the notes to fit the interval formula using sharps or flats where necessary. And always remember the naturally occurring half steps between B and C and E and F. So let's do that now for the key of B minor. Between 1 and 2, we need a whole step. And what do you have from B to C? A half step. So we need to adjust the distance between B and C. We need to make that wider, so we'll apply a sharp to C to make that a whole step. Now we have a whole step from B to C sharp. From 2 to 3, we need a half step. And what do we have from C sharp to D? We have a half step. From flat 3 to 4, we need a whole step. And what do you have from D to E? A whole step. From 4 to 5, we need a whole step. And what do we have from E to F? Well, that's a naturally occurring half step, so we need to increase the distance. We do that by applying a sharp to the F. Now, E to F sharp is a whole step. From 5 to flat 6, we need a half step. And now from F sharp to G, we have a half step. From flat 6 to flat 7, we need a whole step. And from G to A is a whole step. And from flat 7 to 8, we need a whole step. And from A to B is a whole step. So we needed two sharps, F sharp and C sharp, to satisfy the natural minor scale formula for B minor. And that's the same as D major. It's relative major. So we just constructed two minor scales using the methodical and safe method. That always works, but let's try something different, easier and faster. The relative key concept we've recently learned provides a much faster way to determine minor key signatures. Remember, relative keys share the same key signature. So let's try this other approach now. A few minutes ago, we constructed the A minor scale the slow and sure way. We saw that C major and A minor share the same key signature, and notice that A is the 6th scale degree of the C major scale. We also constructed the B minor scale the slow and sure way. We saw that D major and B minor share the same key signature, and notice that B is the 6th scale degree of the D major scale. This is really important to what's next. When we see the key signature on a piece of music, we need to be able to determine what minor key it represents. This is going to be redundant, but that's a good thing. Let's start with the key signature of 2 sharps. So step 1, determine the major key that the key signature represents. Now we've already learned major key signatures and should really know these by now. So 2 sharps is the key of D major, but 2 sharps also indicates a minor key too. Step 2, find the 6th scale degree of that major scale, in this case the D major scale. The 6th scale degree of D major is B. So B minor's key signature is 2 sharps, the same as D major. So if you see a key signature of 2 sharps, F sharp and C sharp, that could be either D major or B minor. So how do you know which? It could be as simple as looking at the last chord of the song, since the last note or chord of a song is often the tonic, but not always. Sometimes you can just hear it once the song begins. And as we learn more about harmony, that's the study of chord progressions, we'll learn obvious clues based on how chords move from one to another in both major and minor keys. So let's do a few more. Let's look at 1 sharp. 1 sharp represents the key of G major. Well, what minor key does it represent? Well, G's 6th scale degree is E. So therefore, E minor is G major's relative minor, and 1 sharp would represent the key signature for E minor. What if you saw 2 sharps in the key signature? We know that represents D major. Well, what's the 6th scale degree of D major? It's B. Therefore, B minor is D major's relative minor, and the 2 sharps that represent D major also represent B minor as B minor's key signature. If you see 3 sharps on a piece of music, you know that represents the key of A major. What's A major's 6th scale degree? That would be F sharp. Therefore, F sharp minor is A major's relative minor. So the key signature of 3 sharps, F sharp, C sharp, and G sharp, represents both A major and F sharp minor. If we see 4 sharps on a piece of music, we know that represents the key of E major. What's E major's 6th scale degree? It's C sharp. Therefore, C sharp minor is E major's relative minor, and they would share the same key signature, which is 4 sharps, F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, and D sharp. If we see 5 sharps in a key signature, we know that represents the key of B major. What's B major's 6th scale degree? It's G sharp. Therefore, G sharp minor is B major's relative minor, and they share the same key signature, 5 sharps, F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, and A sharp. If you see 6 sharps on a piece of music, you know that represents the key of F sharp major. What's F sharp major's 6th scale degree? It's D sharp. Therefore, D sharp minor is F sharp major's relative minor, and they would share the same key signature, 6 sharps, F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, A sharp, and E sharp. And last but not least, you see 7 sharps in a key signature, you know that represents the key of C sharp major. What's C sharp major's 6th scale degree? A sharp. Therefore, A sharp minor is C sharp major's relative minor, and they would share the same key signature, which is all 7 sharps. So let's keep moving. We know that A is the 6th scale degree of the C major scale, and therefore A is the relative minor to C major. Well, think about this idea. The note C is the flatted 3rd scale degree of the A minor scale, so we can say that for all minor scales. The flatted 3rd of a minor scale is its relative major. This works great for us in knowing our minor key signatures, so let's do a few. Let's look at E minor. What's E minor's 3rd scale degree? It's G. Therefore, G major is E minor's relative major. What's G major's key signature? 1 sharp, and that's F sharp. Therefore, E minor's key signature is 1 sharp, F sharp. Let's look at B minor. What is B minor's third scale degree? It's D. Therefore, D major is B minor's relative major. What's D major's key signature? 2 sharps, and they are F sharp and C sharp. Therefore, B minor's key signature is 2 sharps, F sharp and C sharp. Let's look at F sharp minor. What's F sharp minor's third scale degree? It's A. Therefore, A major is F sharp minor's relative major. What is A major's key signature? It's 3 sharps. They are F sharp, C sharp, and G sharp. Therefore, F sharp minor's key signature is 3 sharps, F sharp, C sharp, and G sharp. Let's look at C sharp minor. What's C sharp minor's third scale degree? It's E. Therefore, E major is C sharp minor's relative major. What is E major's key signature? It's 4 sharps, and they are F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, and D sharp. Therefore, C sharp minor's key signature is 4 sharps, F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, and D sharp. Let's look at G sharp minor. What's G sharp minor's third scale degree? It's B. Therefore, B major is G sharp minor's relative major. What's B major's key signature? 5 sharps, and they are F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, and A sharp. Therefore, G sharp minor's key signature is 5 sharps, F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, and A sharp. Let's look at D sharp minor. What's D sharp minor's third scale degree? It's F sharp. Therefore, F sharp major is D sharp minor's relative major. What's F sharp major's key signature? 6 sharps, and that would be F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, A sharp, and E sharp. Therefore, D sharp minor's key signature is 6 sharps, F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, A sharp, and E sharp. Let's look at A sharp minor. What's A sharp minor's third scale degree? It's C sharp. Therefore, C sharp major is A sharp minor's relative major. And what's C sharp major's key signature? 7 sharps, and that would be F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, A sharp, E sharp, and B sharp. Therefore, A sharp minor's key signature is 7 sharps, F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, A sharp, E sharp, and B sharp. So with our new knowledge of minor key signatures, we can see that all key signatures can represent 2 keys, the major key and its relative minor. For example, 2 sharps is both D major and B minor. There's no perfect way to know at a glance if the song is in a major key or its relative minor. However, after gaining some experience and familiarity with chord progressions, it's usually pretty obvious. Often, but not always, the final chord of the song is the tonic chord. Here's what you should know from this unit. Know how to construct a natural minor scale by using the slow but safe 5-step interval formula method. Know that a minor key's key signature is the same as that of its relative major, and know that a key signature for a major key is the same as that of its relative minor. And know how to look at a key signature and know what minor key it represents. And know how to write a minor key signature if you already know the key. Now, we just looked at minor keys that use sharps in this unit. Work on these as much as possible, and we'll see in the next unit where we'll work on minor keys that use flats. If you find this video helpful, please be sure to click on the subscribe button so you don't miss any of our new videos. You can also click the link in the description below to check out the full fretboard biology course when you are ready for a more intensive training program. We'll see you in the next video.